think that the work that I put in individually and then the organization and being here for these 7 years, I hope that it was going to come to a point where I'd be here.
The problem? Everyone's counting out the Indiana Fever. The solution? Kelsey Mitchell. She's healthy, she's hungry, and she's about to show ESPN and everyone else why you never sleep on a true baller. Get ready for some playoff fireworks. Before we move on, I'd like to ask you a small favor. If you appreciate this content, please take a second to like this video and subscribe to the channel. Over 98% of you watch the videos without subscribing. It costs you nothing, but it makes a huge difference to us. So, did you click the subscribe button? Great, thank you so much. Now, back to the video. After Mitchell's return, what could be more strange? How ESPN is dealing with Caitlin Clark and the Fever.
I'm very humbled. I never thought I would get here. I've seen a lot of lows, obviously, but I look back on it now, and I think it was worth it.
You mentioned it right there. Just what's that mean to you to do it with this franchise and for you, who's been a respected player for so long? Just what's that mean to you?
Oh man, I'm very grateful.
Even though the Fever are preparing for their playoff showdown, there is anarchy occurring off the field as well. The way Caitlin Clark and the Indiana Fever have been covered by ESPN has confused many. What the sports giant knows is a mystery to us. Pause and think about what ESPN has predicted. Their actions point to the Fever being about to be annihilated by the Sun. The idea of a series sweep has been floated by certain experts. In your opinion, is that accurate? It's as though they were oblivious to the fact that Clark had just been voted Rookie of the Year and First Team All-WNBA. For someone just starting out, that is absolutely remarkable. But now things are about to become hot. The Fever are seen as a whole separate team by ESPN. A dismal 2-9 record is indicative of their rocky start, but you're not going to believe it. Things took a dramatic turn midway through the season. With the exception of ESPN, everyone seems baffled by this 15-7 run. We also can't forget about Kelsey Mitchell. Her scoring streak of 20 points or more dates back 7 games. A postseason series can be decided by such a run.
Me and him go back to the point where we trained together at Ohio State, so we kind of know each other, and so from that perspective, it was good to get a conversation and get a glimpse of how it looked. Yeah, man, I recently talked to my close friend D'Angelo Russell. He got a glimpse of it, and we go real back. So.
Nevertheless, ESPN, everyone on the court is treating Mitchell the same way. Are you interested in finding out what's actually ridiculous? The Fever's postseason drought began in 2016. They broke the record for the longest active postseason drought in WNBA history just now. Resurrection best describes that. It goes beyond mere return. Still, ESPN appears to have missed the point. The truth is that Mitchell's scoring is the Fever's bread and butter. Her average point total is 19.6 per game. It's game-changing, in addition to being good. Additionally, there are other arguments besides hers. Her presence on the court opens doors for everyone, but Clark especially benefits. Sadly, ESPN is totally mistaken. They fail to notice the Fever's extraordinary journey.
I think it's, kind of get to see where you at. I think it'll level me out as far as where I'm truly am as a player, and I think that hopefully that everything I've been through as far as the training, the preparation is going to prepare me for it.
Because they are fixated on the Sun's past accomplishments. They seem to be completely absorbed in something else. On the other hand, guess what? If the Fever persists, maybe this will help. In the face of such contempt and doubt, power like that. Such is the type of thing that inspires a group to work together. Is that Mitchell and Clark from Fever? They have other objectives besides winning now. Proving their error to everyone is their aim. Envision yourself stepping onto the court while fully aware that a renowned sports network thinks you're completely out of your league. No, it is not mandatory. That motivates me. This is the stuff that underdogs dream about. The Sun is a formidable barrier. It's more than that. But outstanding teams triumph over adversity. The long-simmering enmity between Clark and Carrington gives this series the air of a high-stakes chess match. To rephrase, the Fever aren't just strolling onto the court. Their subsequent action will be to invade a fortified defensive position. The Sun finished the regular season with a record of 28-12, including a 3-1 victory over Indiana in the season series. It is just astounding. But now things are about to become hot. The Fever are very different now than they were before the season started. Remember when they went on a 15-7 run? The playoff trajectory could be changed by such momentum, and with Mitchell back in the lineup, the Sun could be taken by surprise. Let us pretend for a moment that the antagonism between Clark and Carrington never ended. There are more than just two players competing here. The two players' styles couldn't be more different. Battle between Carrington's lockdown defense and Clark's assault firepower. As the two forces come crashing down, it's like seeing a meteor smash into a rock. Do you think it's real? The Sun have dominated the Fever this season, going 3-0. When did they last meet, though? The winner was the Fever. That is more than just a win, it is a daring declaration. The same as saying, we figured you out. Think about the backcourt duo of Mitchell and Clark. Mitchell has been on fire during the Olympic break, averaging 28.3 points per game. It's game-changing, in addition to being good. In what position is Clark? No longer is she thought of as an amateur. She is too powerful for you to ignore. When questioned about playing with Mitchell, Clark stated, I think Kelsey has been playing really good basketball. She is the sole player in our backcourt who makes things easier for me with that 1-2 punch. The message it sends to the entire league is more serious than lighthearted banter. Now is not the time to make assumptions, though. The Sun are still a powerful defensive force. The Fever were 12th in the league in defensive rating during the regular season. That was disappointing. On top of that, you have to face the Sun, like trying to score against a 5 Diana Carrington team. If we may say so, Carrington is more than just another defender. A link to Clark's past exists. She sees this as more than just a playoff series on a personal level. In addition, the intensity of the rivalry can significantly impact how a game turns out. Given this, how is the Fever doing? This means that they are taking on more than simply another team. It is a real challenge. They will need to step up their offensive game to take on a top defense in the league. This is their opportunity to face a team that has outscored them all season and see how much of an improvement they can make. Their best players will be up against a defense built to defeat them. Think about this, though. This kind of test, they are the cherry on top of a well-rounded squad. The Fever can defeat the Sun, as we have seen. Now is the time to act, because the stakes are extremely high. Even more astonishing than Mitchell's miraculous recovery will be what transpires following his return. Does the Sun pose a significant threat? You will be in the dark about the creatures that await you in the later rounds until word gets out. How these teams perform determines whether Indiana's fairy tale run continues or not. Let us assume for a while that the Fever beat the Sun. Is it truly your belief that they will have no more challenges after that? In no world. I can tell you from experience that the Minnesota Lynx are a real contender, and they might be their next opponent. The Lynx is known for its lockdown defense. Trying to score while 5 Diana Carringtons are on the field at once is like swapping teams. Envision this. Next up for Mitchell and Clark is a match against the Lynx, following their victory over the Sun. No matter how rowdy the spectators are, hitting the ball is like hitting a wall. The Lynx is a formidable defender and master smotherer. Every throw and shot is scrutinized. This defensive tactic has the potential to bring self-doubt to even the most talented athletes. However, this is where things start to get interesting. In the semifinals, the Fever might face the Mercury from Phoenix if they can crack the Lynx's code. That matchup would have spectators captivated. Take it all in. A youthful, talented fighter named Fever faces up against an old, grizzled fighter named Mercury. All three eras of the WNBA's history come together on a single court. The Mercury have a lot going for them in terms of star power, titles, and expertise. Is the Fever still an issue? That pent-up resentment and annoyance is still with them. They are now using monies that are registered to the house. Consequently, one should not discount the star power of such a potential confrontation. Several of the most legendary women's basketball players square off against Mitchell and Clark. There were so many potential highlight reel moments in this show, but the whole journey should be seen by Mitchell and the Fever as a chance to prove themselves at every stage. The sole aim is not to win games anymore. Self-expression is the key. They aren't just taking part, they want to win and show ESPN and their doubters who's boss. Are the remarks made by Indiana head coach Christy Side still fresh in your mind? The significance of improved defense was emphasized by her. Clubs like as the Lynx and Mercury will undoubtedly test that defense. Improving one's game while competing against the best offenses in the league is far more difficult than just talking about it. But what could be more ridiculous? In a situation like this, even mediocre teams might nevertheless achieve remarkable results. Each game and series provides a chance for Mitchell, Clark, and the rest of the Fever to progress, to learn. The goal is to get better. Alright, let's be real for a second. It was unexpected for the Fever to arrive. It was never their intention to take part in the playoffs. Their role was strictly that of observers, but they've now arrived at a point where they can make a real difference. That is legendary. Impressive is a slight understatement. Keep in mind the story they are writing. It all started with a 2-9 record and finished with making it to the playoff. After Mitchell's disastrous injury, she made it back in time for the playoffs. Suddenly, we could be up against league-leading opponents despite ESPN's written-off status. More than just a comeback, this is practically a Hollywood smash. At long last, the most thrilling aspect, we can watch the action unfold live. Any game, at any point, the Fever may startle the world with a spectacular move. However, regarding Mitchell, she can further establish herself as one of the best players in the game.